ओमज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरून् श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहन ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, Hare Krishna. So we are entering into the 12th chapter of the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is titled as Creation of the Kumaras and Others. Text 1. Maitreya Uvacha Iti te varnita kshatta kalakyaha paramatmanaha mahima veda garbhota yata yatashrakshin nibodhame. Sri Maitreya said, O learned Vidura, so far I have explained to you the glories of the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this feature of Kala. And now you can hear from me about the creation of Brahma, the reservoir of all Vedic knowledge. So here we see that the calculation of time from the atom. So that's the topic that we had discussed in the previous chapter. And now the further creation. So different aspects of creation has been described. And here we are going to see the creation of Brahma, the reservoir of all Vedic knowledge. And also like Brahma's next descendants, like the four Kumaras and personalities like that. Text 2. Sasarjagrenda tamishram atat tamishram adikrit mahamoham cha moham cha tamaschanjana tamaschanyana vrittayah. Brahma first created the nascent engagements like self-deception, the sense of death, anger after frustration, the sense of false ownership, and the illusory bodily conception or forgetfulness of one's real identity. Purport. Before the factual creation of the living entities in different varieties of species, the conditions under which the living being in this material world has to live were created by Brahma. Unless a living entity forgets his real identity, it is impossible for him to live in the material conditions of life. Therefore, the first condition of material existence is forgetfulness of one's real identity. And by forgetting one's real identity, one is sure to be afraid of death, although a pure living soul is deathless and birthless. So we have often discussed this thing. So what is the source of this fear? No, it is mentioned forgetting one's real identity, one is sure to be afraid. So the fear component immediately comes. No, what is the source of this fear? So the Bhagavatam says, Bhayam Dvitiyad Abhiniveshatasya. So when I see in this creation something else apart from Krishna is there, so then immediately fear comes. So if I see that everything that exists is part and parcel of Krishna, then there is no fear. So the moment I forget my identity of being part and parcel of Krishna, so either I should forget myself as part and parcel of Krishna, or I should see other things as not part of Krishna. So then immediately fear comes. So then no one has to be afraid of death, no, and all the other many problems will come. Okay, so this false identification with material nature is the cause of false ownership of things which are offered by the arrangement of superior control. All material resources are offered to the living entity for his peaceful living, for the discharge of duties, for self realization in conditioned life. So everything is given to us just to progress in Krishna consciousness. That is the primary purpose for which everything is given to us. But due to false identification, the conditioned soul becomes entrapped by the sense of false ownership of the property of the Supreme Lord. So it is like, no, this generally happens. We have seen the moment a child receives a toy, so it thinks that it is my toy. No, it is mine. So, and it doesn't think that my father has brought this toy and things like that. And in the same way, in organizations also, we see the moment somebody gets some position, some resources to utilize, he becomes attached to it. So he doesn't think that I'm just an employee. These resources are given to me for using in the service. So he'll just get immediately become attached to it. So that's the problem with the conditioned souls also. Everybody gets attached to the property given by Krishna for his service. And over a period of time, in the Kali Yuga, it has become so much that people ask, "Who is Krishna?" All this belongs to me only. Completely gone only. So initially, everything was given for Krishna's service, and we were utilizing, and slowly, slowly, we got attached to it, and now we are asking, "Who is Krishna?" There is no God. So this is atheism. Means it's just childish mentality where a child just gets a toy and no gratitude to the person who has given the toy. He just thinks it is my toy. That's all. So that is what is happening in Kali Yuga. So false ownership of the property of the Supreme Lord that happens. It is evident from this verse that Brahma himself is a creation of the Supreme Lord, and the five kinds of nisayans which condition the living entity in the material existence are creations of Brahma. So like we see that deception and so many things which are mentioned, right? So which is like engagements like self deception, and then sense of death. So sense of death is something like which is not there for the living entity. Living entity is eternal, and the sense of death is created. No, you are going to die. You will cease to exist after some time. So this kind of a feeling a living entity never has. It is created by Brahma, and that condition has been experienced by us. Anger after frustration, the sense of false ownership, and then illusory bodily conception or forgetfulness of one's real identity. So these are all things that Lord Brahma actually creates. So these kind of five kinds of nisayans which condition the living entity in material existence are creations of Brahma. It is simply ludicrous to think the living entity to be equal with the Supreme Being when one can understand that the conditioned souls are under the influence of Brahma's magic wand. Patanjali also accepts that there are five kinds of nisayans as mentioned here. So, okay. Text 3. दृष्ट्वा पापीयसीं सृष्टिं नात्मानं भव अमन्यत भगवद्ध्यानपूतेन मनसा मनसान्यां ततो सृजत्. Seeing such a misleading creation as a sinful task, Brahma did not feel much pleasure in his activity, and therefore he purified himself by meditation on the personality of Godhead. Then he began another term of creation. So, like Brahma created all these facilities to forget oneself, the false sense of proprietorship over things which are there, self deception, and things like that. So, these are all essential elements in the material world, essential conditions in the material world. So, and then Brahma is not feeling very happy by such creation. And no, he like took a break in his creation. He meditated on the Supreme Lord and again, started another course of creation. Okay, purport. Although he created the different influences of Nishans means all negative things. No, so Lord Brahma was not satisfied in performing such a thankless task, but he had to do it because most of the conditioned souls wanted to be so. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 15:15 that he is present in everyone's heart. So what is this? Shloka 15:15. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha Vedeshu sarve rahameva vedya vedanta krit veda viteva chaham. So Prabhupada is explaining that only here. He is present in everyone's heart and is helping everyone to either uh, remember or forget. No, either remember or forget. I think it's made us of. What is there in the book? Remember or forget, or remember or forget? Okay. So here in this soft copy it is mentioned as remember or forget. So it is a problem. Okay, so either remember or forget. The question may be raised why the Lord, who is all merciful, helps one to remember and to forget. Actually, his mercy is not exhibited in partiality towards one and enmity towards another. So that means, no, whoever the Lord favors, he is helping him to remember, and whoever the Lord is, enemy to, he is not allowing him to remember the Lord. He is making him to forget. And because he is forgetful of the Lord, he is there in the material creation and experiencing all the negative things. So then Lord cannot be like partial like this. So then why he is making some people to forget? So that is the question. Actually, his mercy is not exhibited in partiality towards one and enmity towards another. The living entity, as part and parcel of the Lord, is partially independent because he partially possesses all the qualities of the Lord. Anyone who has some independence may sometimes misuse it due to ignorance. When the living entity prefers to misuse his independence and glide down towards nescience, the all merciful Lord first of all tries to protect him from the trap. But when the living entity persists in gliding down to hell, the Lord helps him to forget his real position. No. So if the living entity is so adamant to go to hell, the Lord will create the facility to put him in the hell. It is not that some demon is going to come or some other entity is going to come and give us punishment in the hell. No, we decide, and the Lord only is like facilitating all these things. The Lord helps the falling living entity glide down to the lowest point just to give him a chance to see if he is happy by misusing his independence. You know, so the Lord is doing all these things. Even if you want to call him names, even if you want to blaspheme the Lord, the energy and the speech, the power of speech is given by the Lord. So no, that is the amazing aspect of the Lord. Almost all the conditioned souls who are rotting in the material world are misusing their independence, and therefore, five kinds of nescience are imposed upon them. As an obedient servitor of the Lord, Brahma creates all these as a matter of necessity, but he is not happy in doing so because a devotee of the Lord naturally does not like to see anyone falling down from his real position. Persons who do not care for the path of realization get full facilities from the Lord for executing their proclivities to the fullest extent, and Brahma helps in that procedure without fail. Right? So even if somebody wants to go away from the Lord creates a facility, and he puts some agent of his like Brahma, who can create the facilities for that. So this is like an extreme, kind of mercy. Actually, to allow people to fall is also a kind of mercy. Now, generally, people say that, oh, why the God has to allow all these things? No, he should be like very fair and very nice to everybody. So here is the extreme extent of the mercy of the Lord. Even the suffering of people in this world, no, actually, what is happening is it is mercy of the Lord, and that we are not able to see that how is it the mercy of the Lord. So it is mercy of the Lord because the Lord is allowing the living entity to exercise his free will to fall in that condition and to experience that also. Like the Lord is not forcibly saying that no, 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 you should not do this. So then the living entity will always be unhappy, saying that the Lord did not allow me to do that. No, if you would have allowed me to do that, like I would have been like much better. So Lord doesn't give any scope for that. Whatever you want, you try. And then finally, like you come and take shelter of me after exhausting all options. Then you should not have, after taking shelter of the Lord, we should not have a thought that, oh, I didn't try this, I didn't try that. Maybe I would have more happy, if I would have tried that. So like that, the Lord actually exhausts. He allows us to exhaust everything. An intelligent soul, he sees that other living entities have tried all this permutation and combination. By reading scriptures, we see that how Indra, he did some mistakes, how different devotees did some mistakes, and then finally they took shelter of Krishna. How Gajendra, like he was a great devotee of the Lord in the previous life, and then due to some mistake, he had to take the body of an elephant, and then how he finally attained the shelter of the Lord. So like this, a devotee can actually get this information from the scriptures, and rather than going through all this troubles and then finally exhausting the options, an intelligent devotee can take lessons from the established scriptures and can understand, yeah, like finally to take shelter of the Lord is the most intelligent option, right? So one should do that. Text 4. Shankam cha sana sanakam cha sanandam cha sanatanam atma ma atatma buhu sanat kumaram cha munin niskrityan urdhva retasah. In the beginning, Brahma created four great sages named Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumar. All of them were willing to adopt materialistic activities. Uh, all of them were unwilling to adopt materialistic activities because they were highly elevated due to their semens flowing upwards. Purport. Although Brahma created the principles of Nishayans as a matter of necessity for those living entities who were destined to ignorance by the will of the Lord, he was not satisfied in performing such a thankless task. He therefore created four principles of knowledge: Sankhya, or emphoric philosophy for analytical study of material conditions, and Yoga, or mysticism for liberation of the pure soul from the material bondage; Vairagya, the acceptance of complete detachment from material enjoyment in life to elevate oneself to the highest spiritual understanding; and Tapas, or the various kinds of voluntary austerities performed for spiritual perfections. Brahma created the four sages, Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumar, to interest them with these four principles of spiritual advancement. Right. So here we see that the Brahma, in the beginning, he created those five kinds of nishayans, self-deception and false ownership and forgetting one's identity and stuffs like that, for people who are destined to be in ignorance. No, for them, those are the living conditions. So just like when a city is planned, no, affluent sections of the city, no, very rich sections of the city, they have their area where to live, and there are some other places are allocated for poor people to live also. So in the same way, like, sinful people, ignorant people, so they require certain conditions. Those conditions were created, and people who are already advanced in knowledge, they require certain conditions, and for that the Lord created this Sankhya, Yoga, Vairagya, and Tapasya. All these things He created, and then He created four sons, Manas Putras. So who were Sanaka, Sanatan, Sananda, and Sanat Kumar. So all these four people were created, and they were entrusted with this knowledge. So this different knowledge. So here we can see that whenever there is a task, we'll see that in the this is a very nice management principle. Actually, we can understand from Bhagavatam. Whenever there is a task, immediately there is a leader that is assigned behind the task, and then he is responsible to propagate it and like enhance it and things like that. So here we see that these four people were put behind these four principles of knowledge, and they inaugurated their own spiritual party or sampradaya known as Kumara Sampradaya, or later on as the Nimbarka Sampradaya, for the advancement of bhakti. All these great sages become great devotees, for without devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, um, or the Personality of Godhead, one cannot achieve success in any activity of spiritual value. So, if we see that this particular aspect will also be very much highlighted in Srimad Bhagavatam. Anything like in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a whole section of how to attain siddhis. So, how to attain Anima Siddhi, to become smaller than the smallest. How to attain the Lagima Siddhi, to become the bigger than the biggest. So, how to attain the Prapti Siddhi, like, whatever you desire, immediately it will be there in your hands. So, like, to meditate upon the feature of the Lord, where the Lord is there as Paramatma, as the smaller than the smallest. By meditating on that feature of the Lord being the smaller than the smallest, one will get that kind of a Siddhi. So here we see that without the presence of Lord, or without the presence of bhakti, it is very, very difficult to attain any spiritual success or even material success. So it is required, the blessings of the Lord is required, and that is where the whole thing actually lies here. So this is a very, very important point. For without devotional service to the personality of Godhead, no one can achieve success in any activity of spiritual value. So very, very powerful statement it is. Okay, text 5. Tan bhashashe swabu putran praja shrishta putrakaha tannischan moksha dharmano vasudeva parayanaha. Brahma spoke to his sons after generating them. My dear sons, he said, now generate progeny. But due to their being attached to Vasudev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they aimed at liberation and therefore they expressed their unwillingness. Purport. No, this is like one very important. This one, no, the first set of sons who were created in this whole creation is this four Kumaras, and the first instruction given to them were like, no, you beget children and create the progeny. No, the Brahma has a task to fill the universe, all the living entities. After the previous pralaya, all of them lost their bodies, and then all of them lost their bodies, and then they are now waiting for getting bodies. So that is the condition that is there. And then the Brahma is telling that you should all procreate children, and these four Kumaras are telling, no, my father, like, no, I'm not interested in getting married and getting children. Why? Because we are fully attached to the lotus feet of Vasudev, and we want to attain liberation, and we don't want to get involved in this family matters. So they just straight away denied. No, the first set of sons, like, they denied the father's order. No, in this one. So this is how the creation had started. And then, okay, purport. The four sons of Brahma, the Kumaras, declined to become family men even on the request of their great father, Brahma. Those who are serious about gaining release from material bondage should not entangle in the false relationship of family bondage. People may ask how the Kumaras could refuse the order of Brahma, who was their father, and above all, the creator of the universe. The reply is that one who is Vasudeva Parayana, or seriously engaged in devotional service of the personality of Godhead Vasudev, need not care for any other obligation. It is enjoined in Bhagavatam 11.5.41. Now we had discussed this shloka many times here. Deva Rishi Bhutapta Ninam Pitrinam Na Kinkaro Nayam Rinicha Rajan Sarvatmana Yash Sharanam Saranyam Gato Mukundam Parihritya Kartam. So Deva means the demigods, Rishi means the great sages, and then Bhuta is living entities, Apta is relatives, Rinam is other human beings, and Pitru is the forefathers. And then no, one is Na Kinkaro. So Nayam Rini Charajan. So one doesn't need to have any obligation towards all these things, or one doesn't like need to fill in all these debts. No, we are getting so much benefit from all these people. So but we can get released from this debts to all these personalities. How? Sarvatmana ya sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihirta kartum. So it is not an what is that unreasonable and just running away from responsibility and things like that. So one is given release from the responsibility or debt if he happens to become a Vasudeva Parayana, if he happens to become a surrendered devotee of the Lord, fully absorbed in the thoughts of the Lord. So then only this clause is available. Otherwise, simply like one cannot just give up these responsibilities. No, otherwise, this is a great debt. No, materially speaking, this is a great debt. One has to fulfill, or one has to clear these debts for all these personalities. But one who has become Vasudeva Parayana, all the debts for him is like exempted. No, there is no debt that he is having. Everything is exempted. Okay. Anyone who has completely given up all worldly relationships and has taken the absolute shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, who gives us salvation and who alone is fit to be taken shelter of, is no longer a debtor or servant to anyone, including the demigods, forefathers, sages, other living entities, relatives, and members of human society. Thus, there was nothing wrong in the acts of the four Kumaras when they refused their great father's request that they become family men. Okay, text 6. Sovadhyatha sutair evam pratyak pratyakyatanu shasanaihi krodam durvishaham jatam niyantum upachakrame. On the refusal of the sons to obey the order of their father, there was much anger generated in the mind of Brahma, which he tried to control and not express. No, so but this is the beginning of the creation. The first set of progeny, they didn't obey the father's order, and then the father got angry. Purport: Brahma is director in charge of mode of passion of material nature. Therefore, it was natural for him to become angry on the refusal of his sons to obey his order. Although the Kumaras were right in such acts of refusal, Brahma, being absorbed in mode of passion, could not check his passionate anger. He did not express it, however, because he knew that his sons were far enlightened in spiritual advancement, and thus he should not express his anger before them. Okay, text 7. Diya nigrahyamanopi bhruvo madhyat prajapatehe sadyo jayatha tanmanyuhu kumaro nilalohitaha. Although he tried to curb his anger, it came out from between his eyebrows. As a child, mixed blue and red was immediately generated. So Lord Brahma's anger came out from his between his eyebrows, and that took a form of a child. You know, so that is the this we will see that is Rudra. No, this is the creation of Rudra. So purport: the phase of anger is the same whether exhibited due to ignorance or knowledge. Although Brahma tried to curb his anger, he could not do so, even though he is the supreme being. Supreme being means he is a supreme being within the universe, not the ultimate supreme being. So that's why the S is used as small letters here. No, when we address this like Krishna or Vishnu, so supreme being, the S we use is bigger, capital letters. Such anger in its true color came from between the eyebrows of Brahma as Rudra in a mixed color of blue, that is ignorance, and red, that is passion. Because anger is the product of passion and ignorance. So, what's the color of mode of goodness? Color of mode of goodness is white. No, Sweta. Text 8. Savai Rudra Savai Ruroda Devanam Purvajo Bhagavan Bhavah
Purvajo Bhagwan Bhavaha
Namani Kuru Medhatha Sthanani Cha Jagadguru. After his birth, he began to cry, O destiny maker, teacher of the universe, kindly designate my name and place. So this is the first thing that everybody wants. No, what is my identity? What is my name? And where am I supposed to live? And then what is my duty to perform? So all these are the basic things that everybody wants. This clarity, lack of this clarity creates anxiety, depression, and stuffs like that. The moment I know what's my identity, what's the place that I have to operate, and what is the task that I'm supposed to perform, so then immediately there is a lot of peace is there. So this child, immediately after born, he was just simply crying and then telling that, no, please tell me, like, who am I and what am I supposed to do? Text 9. Iti tasya vacha padmo bhagavan paripalayan abhyadat badra badraya vacha marodistat karomite. The all-powerful Brahma, who was born from the lotus, so that is why he is called as Padma. No, Padma means lotus, and Padma means one who has taken birth from Padma. No, that is called Padma. So, like Brahma is called, one of the name of Brahma is called Padma. Right? So, pacified the boy with gentle words, accepting his request, and said, "Do not cry. I shall certainly do as you desire." Yad arodhihi surashreshta sodvega iva bhalakah tatastvam abhidashyanti namna rudra iti prajah. Thereafter, Brahma said, O chief of the demigods, you shall be called by the name Rudra by all people because you have so anxiously cried. No? So, Rodana, crying means Rodana. The child, after taking birth, he was like very, very anxiously crying. So that's why he was given the name Rudra. Okay, text 11. Hridi Indriyanya Ashur Vyoma Vayuragnir Jalam Mahi Suryas Chandras Tapaschaiva Sthana Nagre Kritani Te. My dear boy, I have already selected the following places for your residence: the heart, the senses, the air of life, the sky, the air, the fire, the water, the earth, the sun, the moon, and austerity. So here we see, like, there are few people who are called sarvagyas, who are present, like who know a lot of things in this material world. So Lord Brahma, he knows everything that's happening within the creation, and Lord Shiva or Rudra, he also knows everything that is happening within creation. Practically, he is there everywhere. No, he's there in the heart of all living entities. He's there in the senses. He's there in the air of life, sky, air, fire, water, earth, sun, moon, and things like that. So in this way, like, he is capable of knowing a lot of things, Sarvavyapi and Sarvagya. So almost in a localized aspect, in a not a globalized aspect, at least within this universe, Rudra has so much powers. Okay, the creation of Rudra between the eyebrows of Brahma as a result of his anger generated from the mode of passion, partly touched by ignorance, is very significant. In Bhagavad Gita 3:37, the principle of Rudra is described. Krodha is the product of Kama, lust. So, Kama Yesha, Krodha Yesha, right? So, which is the result of mode of passion, Rajoguna Samudbhava. When lust and hankering are unsatisfied, the element of Krodha appears, which is the formidable enemy of the conditioned soul, right? So, Rajoguna Samudbhava, Mahashano Mahapapma Vidyanam Iha Vairinam. He is the greatest enemy, very, very formidable enemy, for the conditioned soul. This most sinful and inimical person is represented as Ahankara, or the false egocentric attitude of thinking oneself to be all in all. Such an egocentric attitude on the part of the conditioned soul, who is completely under the control of material nature, is described in Bhagavad Gita as foolish. The egocentric attitude is a manifestation of Rudra principle in the heart, wherein Krodha, anger, is generated. This anger develops in the heart and is further manifested through various senses like the eyes, hands, and legs. When anger comes, immediately there is reddish eyes are there, hands and legs shiver. Sometimes we see that we are all right. Suddenly, after we get angry, we feel that we are out of place. We are getting so much of shivering, and the mind is going here and there, running with so many thoughts and things like that. So it's like, what is the source of creation is this, and Rudra is given all these places: the mind, the heart, the senses, and things like that. So immediately when the principle of Rudra comes, that anger comes, immediately all these various senses are affected. Like very, very scientific explanation of the anger, actually. When a man is angry, he expresses such anger with red hot eyes and sometimes make a display of clenching his fist or kicking his legs. This exhibition of Rudra principle is the proof of Rudra's presence in such places. So when a man is angry, he breathes very rapidly, and thus Rudra is represented in the air of life or in the activities of breathing. When the sky is overcast with dense clouds or roars in anger, when the winds blow very fiercely, the Rudra principle is manifested. So that's how when the Rudra, when he performs this Tandava Nritya, which actually devastates the whole creation, violent winds and violent rains and things like that, all these things are manifested. Okay. So it's mentioned that when the sky is overcast with dense clouds and roars in anger, and when the wind blows very fiercely, the Rudra principle is manifested. And so also the sea water is infuriated by the wind. It appears in a gloomy feature of Rudra, which is very fearful to the common man. When fire ablaze, we can also experience the presence of Rudra. And when there is an inundation over the earth, we can understand that this is also a representation of Rudra. There are many earthly creatures who constantly represent the Rudra element. The snake, tiger, lion are always representations of Rudra. Sometimes, because of extreme heat of the sun, there are cases of heat stroke, and due to extreme coldness created by the moon, there are cases of collapse. There are many sages empowered with the influence of austerity, and many yogis, philosophers, and renouncers who sometimes exhibit their acquired power under the influence of Rudra. Rudra principle of anger and passion. So people who have accumulated a lot of tapobal, sometimes they become proud and they try to exhibit their power. So the great yogi Durvasa, under the influence of Rudra principle, picked a quarrel with Maharaj Ambarish. A great Brahmana boy exhibited the Rudra principle by cursing the great king Parikshit. When Rudra principle is exhibited by persons who are not engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the angry person falls down from the peak of his improved position. This is confirmed as follows. Ye anye aravindaksha vimuktamaninas tvayashtabhavad avishuddha buddhaya aruhya gachena param padam tata pathantiyada anadrita ishmadandre. The most lamentable fall down of the impersonalist is due to his false and unreasonable claim of being one with the Supreme. Here we see that this principle of Rudra. So many times, like we see that the positive aspect of application is that Arjuna getting angry and then fighting. So on the instruction of Krishna, or Hanuman getting angry and burning the Lanka. So these are all considered to be a controlled anger. Why? Because they are devotees of the Lord and they're using anger in service of the Lord. So this shloka is very aptly quoted by Srila Prabhupada here. So, like those who are, like the main aspect of the shloka is Patanti Ada Anadrato Ishmadangreya. So, this last line. So, one who uses any material element, be it anger or be it any other facilities of material elements, and they will fall if they don't take shelter of the Supreme Lord. Anadrita Yushmad Angreya. So, Angreya means like lotus feet, and Anadrita means not taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So one will have to fall. So to use any of the material things, one first need to take shelter of the Supreme Lord, and then they use these things. These things will not affect him. But without taking shelter of the Supreme Lord, one uses any of the material things. Here the example is of Rudra. So like if they use this anger principle, so then it becomes a problem. They'll not be able to handle it. They have to take shelter of the Lord and use things in the service of the Lord. Okay, text 12. Manur Manur Mahinasho Mahan Chaiva Ratadvijaha Ugraretha Bhava Kalo Vamadevo Dhritavrataha. Lord Brahma said, my dear boy, Rudra, you have 11 other names. Manu, Mahinasa, Mahan, Shiva, Ritadvija, Ugrareta, Bhava, Kala, Vamadeva, and Dhritavrata. So here we see that Bhava is one of the name of Lord Shiva or Rudra, and that's why Parvati is called as Bhavani. So it is like it's coming from this word Bhava, right? And okay, so these are all different names of Lord Shiva or Rudra. So Dhir Dhriti Rasalo Mach Niyut Sarpir Li no Ilambika Iravati Swada Diksha Rudranyo Rudra Te Striyaha. O Rudra, you also have 11 wives called the Rudranis, and they are as follows. Di, Dhriti, Rasala, Uma, Niyut, Sarpi, Ila, Ambika, Iravati, Swada, and Diksha. Okay. No Grana Naithani Namani Sthanani Cha Sayoshanaha Yebihi Shrija Praja Bavihi Prajanam Asi Yat Patihi. My dear boy, you may now accept all the names and places designated for you and your different wives. And since you are now one of the masters of the living entities, you may increase the population on a large scale. Purport. Brahma, as the father of Rudra, selected the wives of his son, his living places, and his names as well. It is natural that one should accept the wife selected by one's father, just as a son accepts the name given by the father, or as he accepts the property offered by the father. That is the general course in increasing the population of the world. on the other hand, the Kumaras did not accept the offering of their father because they were elevated far beyond the business of generating a great number of sons. As the son can refuse the order of the father for higher purpose, so the father can refuse to maintain his sons in um, in increasing population because of higher purpose. So, like, for generally, this is all duty. A father has to do, like, take care of this duty of getting the son married and giving him like a seed capital of something like that and all. So, but then if he's embarking into a higher purpose, then he can forego that. And in the same way, a son, he can also forego the father's instruction. So, in case if he is embarking on the higher purpose, so only for a higher purpose we can give up a lower purpose, and not for a lower purpose we can give up higher purpose. No, that is not right. Iti adishta swaguruna bhagavan nila lohitah sattvakriti swabhavena sasarjatma samah prajah. The most powerful Rudra, whose bodily color was blue mixed with red, created many offsprings exactly resembling him in features, strength, and furious nature. No, this is the problem. The first creation, it started with so much of distracting elements, so much of Rudra Amshas were created. Rudranam Rudra Shishtanam Samantad Grasatham Jagat Nishamyak Sankyasho Yuthan Prajapatir Asankata. The sons and grandsons generated by Rudra were unlimited in number, and when they assembled together, they attempted to devour the entire universe. When Brahma, the father of living entities, saw this, he became afraid of the situation. So Brahma had the purpose of creating the universe so that he can give the bodies to all the waiting living entities. And the first creation that he did was four Kumaras, and they didn't want to get married and create progeny. Then how will the waiting souls will get the body? So then the Rudra was created, and then he was very, very obedient. He told my father, whatever you say, okay, I will get married and I will create progeny. But then he created progeny, such atrocious progeny, that they were ready to devour, they were ready to destroy the whole creation. So Brahma is in so much of tension. First of all, I wanted to create, and first set of people they didn't agree, and second creation he agreed, but then he's doing negative creation. He's like actually creating things which are destroying the universe. So like Kamine Banpara, like it is, the work is not getting started only. And so first thing is like loss is happening. Whatever he has previously created, even that is getting destroyed because of Rudras and Rudra Amshas. Okay, purport. The generation of Rudra, the incarnation of anger, were so dangerous to the maintenance of universal affairs, that even Brahma, the father of living entities, became afraid of them. The so-called devotees or followers of Rudra are also a menace. They are sometimes dangerous even to Rudra himself. Descendants of Rudra sometimes make plans to kill Rudra by grace of Rudra. That is the nature of his devotees. So we have in the scriptures that what is that? Vrikasura, who had like worshipped Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva gave him a boon, and immediately after receiving the boon from Lord Shiva, he wanted to kill Lord Shiva. So it's like this is the nature of devotees in that lower nature. Text 17. Alam prajabi shishtavir idrishibi surottama maya sahad danti bir dishas chakshur bir ulbanahi. Brahma told Rudra, "O best among the demigods, there is no need for you to generate living entities of this nature. They have begun to devastate everything on all sides with the fiery flames from their eyes, and they have even attacked me." They attacked Brahma also. Text 18. Tapa atishta badram the sarvabhuta sukhavaham tapasaiva yata purvam shrishta vishwam idam bhavan. My dear son, you had better situate yourself in penance. which is auspicious for all living entities, and which will bring all benediction upon you. By penance only shall you be able to create the universe as it was before. So this is the most important principle. So in Vedic tradition, whenever a task is given, the first thing that is expected is, no, a person has to perform tapasya. No, Lord gave the Brahma the task for creation. Brahma sat in the tapasya and he started making his creation. And we will see that no, Kardama Muni, no, he was later on, it will come. No, he was asked to create progeny. No, he established himself in tapasya, and then later on he started creation. So any task that is given, first thing is, no, like this is the Vaishnava etiquette. This is the way that, no, we actually try to do things. So now the spiritual master has told us, no, to chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra. First is that we pray to the Lord that may I be blessed to do this task. No, otherwise, without your blessings, without your mercy, it is not possible for me to do. So, and then a devotee actually performs tapasya, performs that kind of a meditation on the Lord, and then seeks blessings. And any task that is given, we should always, start with this one. That is, we should try to meditate on the Lord. We should try to thank the Lord for the service, and we should try to beg the Lord for executing the service, for the mercy of the Lord for executing that service. Here, Rudra, he just started off, and like here, Brahma is telling, see, like, no, I gave you service, but it is not that you have to do service like this. First, you should situate yourself in penance, and by penance only you can be able to do something worthwhile and valuable. Otherwise, you will only create something, like substandard. Purport. In the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of cosmic manifestation, the three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara or Shiva, are respectively in charge. Rudra was advised not to destroy while the period of creation and maintenance was going on, but to situate himself in penance and wait for the time of dissolution when his service would be called for. So it is not needed, no? Like that. Text 19. Tapasaiva param jyotir bhagavantam adokshajam sarvabhuta guhavasam anjasa vindate puman. By penance only can one even approach the personality of Godhead who is within the heart of every living entity and at the same time beyond the reach of all senses. Rudra was advised by Brahma to perform penance as an example to his sons and followers that penance is necessary for attaining the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the common mass of people follow the path shown by an authority. Now, this same extending the same principle that we were discussing, if we get an order from a spiritual master saying that you have to do this, so then, like, how will we be able to do that? So one has to situate oneself in penance, in the prayers to the Lord. And in the prayers to the Lord, so we will actually we are trying to serve the spiritual master, and we are trying to pray to the Lord that please give me mercy so that I'll be able to serve the spiritual master. So when the Lord is pleased, then by his mercy, we will be able to execute the order of the spiritual master. So this is one amazing classic example which is there. Here Brahmaji is telling that you need to situate yourself in penance and attain the favor of the personality of Godhead. So then you can execute whatever you want, right? Okay, so thus Brahma, disgusted with the Rudra generations and afraid of being devoured by the increase of population, asked Rudra to stop producing such an unwanted generation and take to penance for attaining the favor of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, we find in pictures that Rudra is always sitting in meditation for the attainment of the favor of the Lord. Indirectly, the sons and followers of Rudra are Hare Krishna, sorry, I was in mute. So, where did I stop? Till where you were able to hear?
Rudra always. Therefore, we find the picture Rudra always.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So therefore, we find in pictures that Rudra is always sitting in meditation for the attainment of favor of the Lord. Indirectly, the sons and followers of Rudra are advised to stop the business of annihilation following the Rudra principle while the peaceful creation of Brahma is going on. Okay. Text 20. Maitreya uvacha evam atma bhuvadishtah parikramya giram patim bhadam iti amum amantrya vivesha tapasevanam. Sri Maitreya said, thus Rudra, having been ordered by Brahma, circumambulated his father, the master of the Vedas. Addressing him with words of assent, he entered the forest to perform austere penances. So for Brahma, it is like again back to square one, no? So this is like creation has not yet started, no? The living entities have not got bodies. So first, like creation, he didn't agree to create any progeny. Second creation, he agreed to create progeny, but then no, it was so bad. No, he had to be told that no, you do penance. He also left. Now Brahma is back to square one. Text 21. Atha vidhyayata sargam dashaputraha prajajangire bhagavat shakti yuktasya lokas santana hetavaha. Brahma, who was empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thought of generating living entities and begot 10 sons for the extension of the generations. Marichiratri angirasho pulatsya pulaha krutuhu bruhur vashishto dakshascha dashamastatra naradaha. Okay. So he created all this progeny. Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulatsya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhrigu, Vashishta, Daksha, and the 10th son Narada were thus born. So all of them were Manasaputras. Like Brahma is very empowered in creation. So he just had to meditate on a particular quality, and then he will get a son of that nature. He just have to think. he'll be able to produce. Purport. The whole process of the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of cosmic manifestation is meant to give the conditioned souls a chance to go back home, back to Godhead. Brahma created Rudra to help him in his creative endeavor, but from the very beginning, Rudra began to devour the whole creation, and thus he had to be stopped from such devastating activities. Brahma therefore created another set of good children who were mostly in favor of worldly fruitive activities. He knew very well, however, that without devotional service to the Lord, there is hardly any benefit for her conditioned souls, and therefore he at last created his worthy son Narada, who is the supreme spiritual master of all transcendentalists. Without devotional service to the Lord, one cannot make progress in any department of activity, although the path of devotional service is always independent of anything material. Only the transcendental loving service of the Lord can deliver the real goal of life, and thus the service rendered by Sriman Narad Muni is the highest among all the sons of Brahma. So why it is mentioned? See, right now the service at this point in time of creation is that to create progeny and to give the bodies to all the living entities. But that is just the immediate task. To give the bodies to the living entities is just the immediate task. But the actual task in hand is, after giving the bodies to the living entities, they have to be trained in devotional service, and they have to be sent back to the Vaikuntha. That is the real task that is there in the hand. So Brahma created all these other personalities to create the progeny, but then he created Narad Muni, so that he can infuse devotion into the people, and then he can send them back to the spiritual world. Right? So that is also important task. That's in fact the most important task. Text 23. Utsangan narado jagne daksho angushta swayambhuvaha pranad vashishtah sanjato bhrugustvai tvachi karat krutuhu. Narada was born from the deliberation of Brahma, which is the best part of the body. Vashishta was born from his breathing, Daksha from a thumb, and Bhrigu from his touch, and Kratu from his hand. So different people are born from different places. Narada was born from the best deliberation of Brahma, because Narada was able to deliver the Supreme Lord to anyone he liked. The Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be realized by any amount of Vedic knowledge or by any number of penances. But a pure devotee of Lord like Narada can deliver the Supreme Lord by his goodwill. The very name Narada suggests that he can deliver the Supreme Lord. Nara means the Supreme Lord. Nara means like living entities. Nara means the Supreme Lord. And the means one who can deliver. No, dadati. No, the is used for in that sense, the root of that word. So that he can deliver the Supreme Lord does not mean that the Lord is like a commodity that can be delivered to any person. But Narada can deliver anyone to the transcendental loving service of the Lord as a servitor, friend, parent, or lover, as one may desire out of one's own transcendental love for the Lord. In other words, it is Narada only who can deliver the path of Bhakti Yoga, the highest mystic means for attainment of the Supreme Lord. Text 24. Pulaho nabito jajne pulatsyah karanayo rishihi angira mukato kshanoti trir marichir manaso bhavad. Pulatsya was generated from the ears, Angira from the mouth, Atri from the eyes, Marichi from the mind, and Pulaha from the navel of Brahma. धर्महस्तानात् दक्षिणतो यत्र नारायण स्वयं अधर्मः पृष्ठतो यस्मान् मृत्युर्लोक भयंकरः. Religion was manifested from the breast of Brahma, wherein is seated the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana, and irreligion appeared from his back, where horrible death takes place for the living entities. Purport. That religion was manifested from the place where the personality of Godhead is personally situated is very significant, because religion means devotional service to the personality of Godhead, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita as well as the Bhagavatam. In Bhagavad Gita, the last instruction is to give up all other engagements in the name of religion and take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam also confirms that the highest perfection of religion is that which leads to the devotional service to the Lord, unmotivated and unhampered by the material impediments. Savai Pumsam Haro Dharma Yato Bhakti Radokshaje Ahaituki Apratihataya Atma Suprasidati. Religion in its perfect form is the devotional service of the Lord, and irreligion is just the opposite. The heart is the most important part of the body, whereas the back is most neglected part. When one is attacked by an enemy, one is apt to endure attacks from the back and protect himself carefully from all attacks to the chest. All types of irreligion springs from the back of Brahma, whereas real religion, the devotional service of the Lord, is generated from the chest, the seat of Narayana. Anything which does not lead to the devotional service of the Lord is irreligion, and anything which leads to the devotional service of the Lord is called religion. Okay, so we will continue tomorrow again. So, like we could able to visit all the different temples of Ahobilam, the Navanashima temples. You know, after some time, we will also plan a trip for the congregation. So then we will be able to take all of you also to this wonderful place of Lord Narasimha's appearance place. The Stamba is there, like where Lord Narasimha appeared, and then various pastimes of Lord Narasimha and Prahlad has happened in this place. So that's the place. So we will take you also sometime. So it was a very, very wonderful journey, and nice prayers were offered. So anyways, like you can also join after some time. Hare Krishna. We'll all meet tomorrow. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.